Ironically, I procrastinated making this video, a video about procrastination.
And isn't it ironic?
But I actually took my own advice and the tips that I'm going to share with you in this video and was able to crack on and make this video. So here we are. In this video, I'm going to talk about why we procrastinate, how procrastinating with your finances is costing you a lot of money, and some top tips on basically how to stop procrastinating. Now, procrastination isn't just about the thing or the task that you're doing, because I love making videos, I love creating content, but it's actually about the short-term stress relief and avoidance of negative emotions in that moment towards something that is more enjoyable in the short term. Even though rationally we all know that procrastination isn't great for us reaching long-term goals, but yet we can't seem to stop doing it. Hi everybody, my name is Laura Ann Moore and I post videos all about money, mindset and motivation to help you get financially confident, to help you transform your relationship with money and to basically get you living your best life. Okay, so let's not beat around the bush here. Procrastination sucks. It is an absolute killer of so many things and I've been guilty of it. When it comes to your finances especially, procrastination is actually a really expensive habit. Now I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me not so long ago, so it's still a little bit raw, about how procrastination cost me money. £200 to be specific. Between the 3 lockdowns, I lived in 3 different places. And between place number 1 and place number 2, I had to hire a car to move my stuff from the first flat to the second flat. My first flat was in central London, the other one was more south, so it meant that I was going to be driving through the congestion charge. Now, I hired a car, I knew the registration plate, and what I should have done, and I had on my to-do list, was prepay the congestion charge, which is £15. Which, I'll be honest, at the time, I was like, ugh, £15, I don't want to pay that. And that feeling definitely played a part in me not getting round to it. It fell further down my to-do list, and then the day came, I moved my stuff, I moved in and out of the congestion charge, I hadn't paid it, and you usually have about 48 hours after you've done it to pay the £15. Again, it fell to the bottom of my to-do list. I ended up completely forgetting about it because I was so busy, and then about 2 weeks later, I got a letter through saying that I had been fined because I hadn't paid it. So there was an £80 fine for not paying the £15. And then there was a £40 admin fee from the car company because the fine had gone to them and they had to send a letter to me, and apparently that cost £40. And then I was like, hell no, I don't want to pay that. So I put on my to-do list to look into ways of getting out of paying it. Then I spent so long thinking about it, thinking what to do. By the time I'd actually got round to it and thought, fine, I'm actually just going to have to pay that £120. When I called up, the fine had doubled, because if you don't pay the fine within 14 days, it doubles. So the £80 turned into £160 plus the £40 admin fee. I had a £200 fine for something that should have only cost me £15. So I ended up paying it. I was £185 down, and that was a clear example of how procrastination can be expensive. And I'm still upset about it. When it comes to your finances, procrastination could actually be causing you to lose out on money. So for example, switching your utility provider. If you're currently paying £100 a month on bills for utilities, but you know you could probably get it for 60 quid somewhere, you're then losing out on £40 a month. That's £480 over the course of the year for something that could literally take you half an hour to sit down and go onto U-Switch or Money Supermarket and change quite easily. Budgeting. If you have told yourself multiple times, oh my God, I'll budget next month, every month that you don't budget, you're losing out potentially on money that could be being saved or invested. Because the chances are, if you don't budget and pay yourself first, and you say to yourself, you'll just save what's left over, you're not going to have anything left over, because your brain would just want to spend what's there. Let's say you get paid £2,000 a month and your bills are £1,000, and you just end up spending that remaining £1,000 on whatever, food, takeaways, shopping. You've then saved nothing. But if you spent a bit of time, sat down, created a budget and tracked your spending, you might be able to cut that spending of £1,000 in half. You could pay yourself £500 into savings and investments and spend the remaining £500, which over the course of the year is £6,000 saved. We live in a world that has constant distractions. You've got social media, you've got WhatsApp, your email, Netflix, all of these things that are so easy just to go on your phone, sit on your laptop, turn on the telly, and you get immediate enjoyment. You get that dopamine hit from what you're doing in that moment. It's easy, it's quick, it's a complete fix, and it takes you away from any kind of negative emotions of doing a task that maybe you're a bit worried is going to be hard, you're not 100% feeling, or doesn't offer any kind of instant gratification. So, first of all, you need to stop identifying as a procrastinator. When you say, I am a procrastinator, you're attaching that thing to your identity. So then your belief system will start to find things that produce the results that is going to align with what you're saying, which is why you will keep procrastinating. So you need to dissociate yourself, and instead of seeing yourself as a procrastinator, you just need to say that you have a bad habit of procrastinating. And I watched a YouTube video from Mel Robbins, which basically explains that when we dissociate ourselves and we don't make it a part of our identity, it will be easier to start to change that habit. Because trying to change a part of something that is you is hard, but changing something that you do, one of your actions, is easier. Because we just have to trick our brains into doing things slightly differently and into action that is going to serve us positively. Another thing is stop convincing yourself you're not capable of the task at hand. It might be hard, it might be challenging, you might need to be learning something, you might have to give it your all, but don't convince yourself that you can't do it. When we wrap up our sense of self-worth in the end result, we're making it harder for ourselves, because if we have a fear of failure, it's going to lead us to just avoid the task altogether. I do this all the time where I avoid tasks because I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to do it. The problem with that is you're not giving yourself a chance to learn and a chance to try and fail. And failure is absolutely okay because then you're learning from it. But if you procrastinate it and never even try it, you don't even get a chance to see if you can do it. So you need to remind yourself that you are capable of doing hard things and you are capable of doing things that you haven't ever done before. If you come from a fixed mindset of saying, I can't do this thing, you're basically not going to be able to do it because you've convinced yourself that you can't. Whereas if you come from a growth mindset and you say, I am capable of doing this thing, or I am learning how to do this thing, and you factor in learning time into the task, then it will make the task a lot less overwhelming. So say, for example, you want to create a budget, but you've convinced yourself that you're not good at numbers and you can't do maths, then the task is going to feel like too much and you will keep putting it off. Whereas if you factor in time for learning, for example, I'm going to spend 1 hour watching YouTube videos on the different types of budgeting methods. I'm going to spend another hour speaking to a friend about the way that they budget their money. And then I'm going to look into the best budgeting method for me. And you do all this prep work before you actually do the thing. Whilst it makes the overall task maybe take longer, it's given you the confidence to build up to doing the actual task and you're breaking it down. Also, use affirmations like, I am capable of creating a budget, or I am learning how to understand numbers. I am getting better at maths. Side note, you don't actually have to be good at maths or good with numbers to create a budget, but that is just an example. And another thing is we need to remember that action comes before motivation. So sometimes we always think we need the motivation to get up and do these things. Now, if you're lying in your bed and you're all comfy and you want to exercise, for example, lying there waiting for the motivation to hit, you're going to be lying there all day. Whereas if you just take it one step at a time, you get up, then you go, okay, cool, well now I'm going to put my clothes on, and you get dressed. Okay, well now I'm going to go turn on the telly and put the video on. And you're taking this action, you get the ball rolling. Usually the first bit is the hardest bit. The getting started is the bit that is the killer. The amount of times I have had an idea for a blog or a video and procrastinated doing it for ages, but the second I start writing the first word or the second I hit play on the camera, the rest just happens. Don't get me wrong, there is the odd time where you do just have to call it quits, but most of the time when you get the ball rolling, the motivation follows to carry on because you've already gotten over the first hurdle of starting the task. Sometimes it's good if we can assess the reason why we're procrastinating. So for example, if it is because of timing, let's just say that you know that you're more productive in the evening or more productive in the morning, play into this. Put the tasks that you don't want to do at the start of the day when you're going to be most productive, and leave the fun task for the rest of the day. Now, sometimes what happens to me is I make a to-do list that is so crazy and so long that I end up getting none of them done, because when I sit down and I go, right, I'm going to get some stuff done today, and then I look at the list and I'm like, Jesus, that is a lot to do, and I end up doing none of them. So then I end up wasting a whole day, and then I get angry at myself, and the process just repeats itself. So what I like to do is try to prioritize them. What ones need to happen today? What ones are important? Which ones are less important? And for the tasks that are really big, that just overwhelm me too much, I break them down into smaller tasks, because I absolutely love ticking stuff off a list. So if one big task is going to take too long for me to tick off, if I break them down into little tasks, I get the reward of ticking off the little tasks as I go along, and that always helps me. Now, hopefully all of that helped, and when you finish watching this video, you tackle a task you've had on your to-do list for a really long time, or you at least break it down and make a plan for tackling it. I hope it has inspired you. And bearing in mind that I procrastinated this video for so long, right now I feel a real sense of satisfaction that I am recording it. Now, I'm not saying procrastination is never going to show up in your life again, as amazing as that would be, but it's good to be aware of it, figure out what your triggers are, figure out why you're procrastinating, and find ways to break down the task to make it easier and less overwhelming or more enjoyable, and go easy on yourself, because everybody does it. But if you really want to make big changes, we have to remember that to change the output, we have to change the input. So if you want to stop procrastinating, you've got to start doing some things differently. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. And if you like this video and you want to see more videos, please do hit subscribe, like, comment, do what you gotta do. And I look forward to seeing you at the next video, if I get round to making it and I don't procrastinate too much. Dun, dun, dun.